Hello guys, welcome back. So in today's video, we're gonna learn how to read and retrieve data from Firebase Database with Android and Java. I hope you like this video. Continue watching. So now you're watching my screen. As you can see here, I have created a simple view with the name field, email, and the edit text for the name and edit text for the email. I have given them separate unique ID. The ID for this field as name. For the edit text, I have given it as name text. For the email, and the edit text for the email as email text. Okay. I have two buttons here, one for the save and one for the load. The ID for the save button is save btn and load is load btn. Make sure all these IDs here in the view are unique. So let's move on to the main activity, and we will use this view in the main activity now. So before we move on, what we need to do is we need to add Firebase dependencies here in your project. So for that, go to Tools and click on Firebase. These are the features Firebase offers you. What we need right now is real-time database. So if you click on more info and click on save and retrieve data, for my case it's all connected, but you can just click here and then it will ask you the credentials of the Google, which will eventually connect you to your Firebase account. With that said, let's move on. Now we need to initialize a view in the main activity. For that, what we'll do is first take the text view items. So we just have two text view items in our XML, name and email. Okay, so now we have edit text items. Okay, now what more we have is button. Okay, so what we need to do now is to set up the view. So I personally like to create a function for the setup view. So for that, we will just create a function, simple function, setup view. We will name it as setup view, and here we will set up the view with all the fields. So here it should be save button, not save button. So make sure all these things are right, otherwise you will end up with problems. So now here we have set up our view successfully. Now to call this view, as you know, it's as simple as calling this function here, and we are done. So next, what we need to do is to work with database. So for that, first we will initialize the database here. So I will create a database reference. I will name it as reference ref, and now we need to set up the action on these two buttons. So we need to create a on-click listener for these two buttons. So now we will create a on-click listener for save button. Okay, and similarly we'll create an on-click listener for the load button. Okay, now we have two on-click listeners in our Java file. Now we need to add what we need to do when these buttons are clicked. Okay, so first of all, what we'll do is to get the input from the user, which the user will enter in these two edit text fields, and we will just store them in a string. So what I like to do is to create a separate class to hold these details. So we will go to projects, Java, and I will create a separate class here, Java class. So now in this user we have two variables. Now we have to create a constructor here. The can go to generate constructor and you can select both the values. There you go. So now we will create getter and setter functions for username and user email. So here we forgot to make a default constructor. Now we are done with the class, and let's call this class in our main activity.java. So we need to call the class here. I will create a new object of this class. And next, what we'll do is to store the values from these two edit text fields in a string. Okay. Similarly for the other edit text field. Okay, now we have stored both the entries in username and user email, and what we'll do now is to set these two values in this user. So before we move on, we will make these two string variables as final, so it will be used only once. So we will use the setter functions. So as you can see, we are doing a mistake here. Instead of set, we are using the get. So next, what we need to do is to store these two values in the database. So for that, first we need to create the reference to the Firebase database. And after getting the reference, we will upload these two values of the user to the Firebase. So we need to make sure we are uploading the values to the same child. As we know, the childs are separated by the username val dot. We will set the value, and we know that these two values of the user are in the user object, and that's it. So let's quickly compile this. So now we have no errors. Let's test if we are able to load the values to the database. So now let's go to the Firebase console, and here you can see the data of this user, my email and my username. So here I will change the name to some different name, and I will use a different email. I will save the data, and as you can see, the data has been loaded here. If you notice, all these datas are separated with the username. So now what we'll do is to finish the next on-click listener for the load button. First, what we need is to have the same reference to this user. We will again access it from Firebase reference. Here we will add the child because we need to load the value from the same child. Okay, so this child is this username. Here we have set it the username, but here we will get the username. Okay, so I will get it from the user class, get username. Okay, so now we are making sure that we are pointing to the same child. So next we will create a add value listener. It will create two functions for you, on data change and on cancelled. So now we will add the logic under these two functions. Oops. And now what we'll do is to use the data snapshot and store the user details. Okay. And here we will use the child name. So if you have noticed here, our child name is user email and username. We have to make sure that we are referring to the same child. Okay, so now we have retrieved the value of the username from the Firebase. So next what we'll do is to retrieve the value of the user email. So now we have all the data from the user. What we'll do is to create a toast message, and we will display the details of the user in that toast message. So this is simple. We'll create a toast, make text, and we will get the application context here, and then data username Okay, we will separate it with a new line. And the next field we have is data user email. Then we will write toast, and we will declare the length of this toast. I will make it long and show. So on cancelled, we will again create a toast, and we will throw an error if you're not able to read the values from the database for any reason. Okay, so we are done with retrieving the data from the Firebase. Now let's check it. So now I will add new user, again Zubair Khan, and my email. So as you can see here, the user has been added. Another user, we have another user. Now let's read this current user. So as you can see, we have the toast message here with the Sharik, with the name and the email. I will again create a separate save, and then you have the entry here, and I will load this entry, and you can see the readout from the Firebase database.
Hello guys, I hope you're doing absolutely fine. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel, hit the like button, dislike button, do comment down below your views about the video. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care and bye-bye.